Hello, all my little weirdos, and welcome back to Freaky Fridays, where each episode I bring you along on a tale of legendary ghosties. Today we are dabbling in the Carolinas because this big badass pirate not only terrorized both North and South Carolina back in the 1700s, but he is apparently still out here haunting the streets and protecting his loot. Let me introduce to you Edward Teach, aka Blackbeard. Not much is known about Edward's early life, but when he died in 1718, he was estimated to be between 35 and 40 years old. So when the math is mathing, it proves he had to have been born in the late 1600s, possibly 1680. It is also a known fact that pirates used fake names while out doing bad boy things in order to not tarnish their family name. So with that being said, we don't even know for a fact that Edward Teaches his real name. But what we do know is that this man was a vile creature. He had a very menacing appearance, and although there is nothing on record that proves he's killed anyone, the man really liked violence. I guess you kind of have to be a pirate, just going on other people's ships and taking their hard-earned items. But this lunatic would also tie lit fuses under his hat and in his beard to scare his victims when heading into battle. Blackbeard came about being Blackbeard when he settled in New Providence, which was ran by badass pirate Benjamin Hornigold. Blackbeard joined this squad in 1716 and became command of a sloop that he stole. And I learned that a sloop is basically just a single-masted sailboat, so I guess he just had to start small. So he is now command of this sailboat, and him and Benjamin go off and pirate the shit out of innocent people. I also had no idea that you could retire as a pirate, but apparently you can, because that's just what Benjamin did at the end of 1717. And I hope that Blackbeard held a really nice retirement party for him, because at the end of it, he got custody of a French slave ship that they pirated together when Benjamin left. So Blackbeard said it's his time to shine, so he took that ship, renamed it Queen Anne's Revenge, and equipped it with 40 guns and over 300 men. Moving on, Blackbeard and his newfound crew set sail to Charlestown, which is now Charleston, South Carolina, and blockaded the port so they could ransack the goods. After that, Blackbeard settled down in Bath, North Carolina. He probably figured he had enough goods after flipping the whole town of Charles over. Either that or he had a change of heart and decided he is better than this type of lifestyle. I doubt it, but it does stand to reason because he accepted a royal pardon for all of his pirate shenanigans. My doubts were confirmed when I read that he only stayed settled down for a few months before he got bored and went back out doing bad boy pirate stuff again. He quickly caught the attention of Virginia's governor, Alexander Spotswood, and not in a good way. Alexander called upon Lieutenant Maynard to go out and capture this Blackbeard guy. Maynard was a pro. It really makes me laugh that this is how Blackbeard got caught when he was supposed to be this shrewd and calculating leader that used violence as often as you would use a tissue to blow your nose. The lieutenant gathered a crew, told them to board a ship but hide below deck. There were only 2 people left on deck to make it seem like the ship was defenseless and crippled. So Blackbeard and his boys boarded the ship, prepared to steal things that weren't theirs, and they were ambushed. Maynard and his men ambushed the shit out of Blackbeard and his men. Blackbeard himself and several of his crew members were killed. Maynard beheaded Blackbeard, wanting to take the head back to the governor to claim his bounty. He hung the infamous head from the front of his ship and threw the body overboard. This all happened on November 22nd, 1718 in Ocracoke, North Carolina. And where there is an unsettled spirit, there are tons of ghost stories. One of the main places that Blackbeard is known to haunt is the coast of North Carolina on the island that he died on. Ocracoke Island is 16 miles long, located on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, with dunes and forests and an undisturbed shoreline. Kayakers and boaters often report feeling an unnatural current pulling them into the inlet where Blackbeard spent his last minutes. Also, when Blackbeard's headless body was thrown overboard, legend has it that his body swam around the boat a total of 3 times before sinking. Now there are reports from locals that say they have seen a headless body swimming through the cove as if searching for its head. There have also been some hikers and boaters that reported seeing a large bearded man pacing the shoreline and just vanishing into thin air. When the weather is unfavorable and a storm rolls through, you can apparently see a glowing light moving under the water near the cove, which they call this Teach's Light. And during these same storms, when the thunder is rolling through, you can also hear a roaring voice coming from the cove saying, "Where's my head?" in a pained voice. Massive shadows have also been seen beneath waves as well, and locals believe these disturbances are Blackbeard's spirit thrashing as if replaying his epic last moments. With Bath, North Carolina being a part of the pirate shenanigans, it's only natural that he haunts that place as well. The Bonner family reported seeing a fireball as large as a man's head float between Plum Point and Archbell Point during a storm. That one I'm a little skeptical of because it was just one family and I didn't find much about his afterlife appearances in that particular part of North Carolina. However, Charlestown, which is now Charleston, has been a huge hotspot for Blackbeard. What is now considered the Battery in downtown Charleston is where Blackbeard held the entire city hostage. His spirit has been seen along the Battery, just pacing back and forth as if watching for incoming ships. And dock workers and sailors often hear boots on a wooden plank when they look around and the harbor is deserted of civilians. There are also some waterfront taverns in Charleston that have been visited by the spirit of Blackbeard. Lanterns would flicker and the patrons would experience a sudden chill. And there would also be a thick bearded dark figure seated in the corner. And when the figure is approached, he just vanishes. And that one is actually pretty cool because I have been to this place in downtown Charleston called the Griffin, and it definitely seems like just the atmosphere that Blackbeard would hang out in. And where there is a pirate, there is often hidden treasure, so the legend goes. The legend of Blackbeard is that he buried his treasure along the coast, and to this day, it has never been found. The big mean pirate probably has a lot to do with it still being hidden treasure, because it has been reported by many treasure hunters that they hear strange noises, little flicks of light, and phantom whispers. It is said to be Blackbeard's spirit protecting his hidden treasure from those who are digging near the suspected area. In the Beaufort Inlet, a group of treasure hunters went missing while on the hunt. Unfortunately, their empty boat was found the next day, and no one has seen them since. This stuff dates back to the 1800s as well, when a North Carolina farmer started hunting for the treasure in Bath. He said that he quickly abandoned the coins that he found. He hightailed it out of there without his treasure because he heard the most unsettling, eerie laughter coming from the dark. It is also said that those who think they are badasses and ignore the warning signs often come back with just ghost stories instead of hidden treasure. Their tools would break while digging, sudden ferocious storms would come out of nowhere, and they would also get the overall sense of being watched. So that is the wild story of our ghosty pirate friend Blackbeard. If you have any other ghosties you would like for me to do an episode on, drop a comment below, and until next time, bye!